For this discussion, I would like to touch on several overlooked codes that oftentimes you, as the provider, are providing these services and not including these codes when billing for services. So it's just a good reminder about the extent of the the services you provide to the patient and certain services that should be billed for separately. The first one being smoking cessation counseling. A few things to note about smoking cessation counseling. One, this can be for any type of nicotine or tobacco use, smokeless, such as chewing, as well as cigarettes or vaping. But it's important that the patient have in their documentation a diagnosis of um, nicotine abuse or addiction in order to actually code that you have provided smoking cessation counseling. They must have um, that nicotine dependence documented as a diagnosis. So the two codes that you would use for smoking cessation counseling are going to be a 99406, and that's for any counseling from 3 to 10 minutes, and then a 99407, and that's going to be any counseling, more extensive counseling that goes beyond 10 minutes. So this can be discussion of cessation modalities, treatments, uh, and other options to help assist the patient with smoking cessation. Um, Next is going to be advanced care planning, and this is anytime you as the provider are discussing either with the patient um, a, a medical power of attorney or their family um, advanced directives and planning out the care of that patient as far as changing or mending advanced directives and so forth. And these two codes are going to be a 99497, that's for the first 30 minutes of this care planning, and then a 99498, and that code is added on for each additional 30 minutes that you spend with the patient or their family members or representatives as far as providing direction and assistance with advanced care planning. Next is going to be transitional care management, and within the literature, this was often documented as a frequently missed opportunity for coding. So, transitional care management occurs whenever you are involved in the transitional care of a patient from a facility, such as hospitalization, back to their home or residence, place of residence. And in order for this to meet the requirements of actual transitional care management, it has to happen either within 7 or 14 days of hospitalization. And another caveat to this is contact with the patient must be made within 2 days of the patient's discharge from a facility. So there are two codes for this. The first being a 99495, and that considers it's in consideration of moderate medical decision making, and that face-to-face occurrence must happen within 14 days of discharge. And then the higher medical decision making is going to fall under the 99496 code, and that face-to-face must occur within 7 days, which, if you think about it, makes sense. If somebody has a higher need, a higher level of service of medical decision making, you're going to need that to see that patient sooner. So if you're seeing them sooner because of a more serious, perhaps hospitalization with a high level of medical decision making, that will then fall under that 99496. And then, in addition to those specifics, I just have a list of several other services provided that do have their own separate billing codes to consider. And these would be things such as the removal or replacement of a device. And this can be something as simple as the removal of an IUD um, during a routine gynecological exam. That removal is billed separately. Vaccinations all carry their own billable code, um, as well as things such as additional diagnostics like venipuncture, EKGs, etc. So just so you're aware that these things aren't typically all bundled together, perhaps under a wellness visit, they are billed as a separate service.